Black on Red presents yet another guest, and from one G to another, it's Danny G who's joining me today. So Danny G, who his record is at all great record shops, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's actually great to actually have a record to your name. It's an amazing achievement. But you're very welcome to Cork.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. A fellow lover of soul music. I think we've known each other probably online and stuff for like 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, but we got to know each other in person. We've only met a few times, but it feels like we're really good friends. I've interviewed you before on the podcast, been at some of your gigs, and we have got similar tastes in music. Let's just put it that way, straight away. Like one of the first times I saw you was a Marvin Gaye thing, man. I was like, these guys know they're Marvin Gaye, like. And that's my stuff. So
I remember watching you. I think you were DJing after someone in the Sugar Club, so I probably knew about you first.
Okay.
Playing hip hop and neo soul, and that was kind of, this is my thing.
Yeah.
You know?
So how did it work for you? Getting into because all of the guests on this show on the Black on Red Presents series, I'm celebrating 20 years of Black on Red, celebrating the culture with artists who are current and who are delivering soul, R&B, hip-hop, Afro stuff now. You and me are the only white guys in the whole series, right? But how did, I know how I got into, we'll say what we will call black music, for want of a better word, acknowledging the roots of it. It's music that white people have always played a part in it, whether it was with jazz, whether it was with hip-hop, whether it was with anything. But it's still, we're coming to a different kind of zone when it comes to D'Angelo, Marvin Gaye, Erykah Badu, Tribe Called Quest, whoever else. So how did it go for you? How did you get into this kind of music, we'll say?
My dad's a singer, first of all. He's a kind of folk, I suppose. It's hard to define what he does. He's Dutch, and he wrote these great songs. He was like, we were listening to him singing growing up, and he was very influenced by Cat Stevens, the Beatles. Okay. And he'd sing in English and he'd sing in Dutch. So from an early age, and I was listening to his records, like the Beatles basically, and it's not really much of a jump from the Beatles to soul music, especially a lot of their
relationship. They would have done some of their original tracks were soul tracks,
right,
by the Isley Brothers, right. And then soul in America embraced the Beatles straight away and helped popularise both Motown and the Beatles simultaneously. So the Beatles, like all of these other big, huge, white
they
groups,
definitely borrowed from a lot of black culture.
Exactly, and they always were very keen to tell people about that too. So it wasn't just a pilfering situation. Like the Beatles and the Stones were basically children of all the original R&B and rock and roll acts.
Right.
And I suppose so there's not much of a song as a song, so you eventually are going to gravitate to certain kind of. So he came from Holland to Ireland, yeah? Yeah,
in the 70s, and had 3 children, and I'm the third, so I was a baby.
Cool.
But we all got into music somehow.
Yeah.
Probably from him.
And your brother Padge, he's Patrick now, isn't he, as an artist?
Yeah, Patrick Stefan, he calls himself now. So
really good artist. We would have played a lot on the show as well. And I would have worked with your other brother too on a different project, which isn't relevant to this show. So it's amazing, really. But the music, so how did you go from the Beatles to say D'Angelo and Marvin Gaye and all these guys? I mean, I know it's not a big stretch.
No, I mean, I grew up playing trad music, and then I started singing, teaching myself guitar, copying my brother. And then playing Beatles songs. And then I think when I was 18 or 19, I heard What's Going On by Marvin Gaye for the first time, and Stevie Wonder, Talking Book, and those 2 albums just changed everything.
Yeah, it's game over.
Oh my God, this is. So you can have these melodies and harmony, and then also groove. I didn't really. It was the first time I'd understood that. Cool. And just how these records made me feel, and I said, right, I want to discover this kind of music, and I want to eventually try to write songs like this, you know.
And what about you mentioned the groove and stuff, and the words as well were very universal but very powerful. Like, these are artists that were really talking about the stuff going on of the day, and you've gone and pursued that with your album. I mean, you did a really powerful video for When It All Runs Out.
There she is, my baby.
Available at all good record stores. and even if they're not record stores, you can get it online. But you did some great, really good visuals. I know we talked about it on the podcast, but just for the listeners who don't know it, we got to check it out. So you shot some of that, or some of that was shot in Venezuela. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my partner Rosa is from Venezuela, and we've been over a few times. And there's a great deal of civil unrest. There's like food shortages and things not on shelves, and there's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of inequality. But it's a beautiful country as well. It's like a paradise, rivers and beaches and jungles and everything. So with the video, I just wanted to show how, first of all, how beautiful it was, and then also some of the other stuff. So there's like footage of the street clashes with police and all sorts of. You can check it out. But I used a lot of footage from a journalist in Venezuela who I was in contact with. So it's original footage, and it's quite powerful, and it seemed to match the song because I had a bit of a Latin vibe going on with the music. Yeah. So
yeah, and like Marvin and Stevie, it could go from a love song to something about the social. I know you're quite passionate about the same issues as I am, and music has the power to do that. Like, in some of the music that you're drawn to, same way as I am, whether it's hip hop, whether it's soul, R&B, jazz, some of the artists have been willing to speak up, let's say, about certain things over the years. I mean, obviously it's trying to get the balance. I know you've got songs on this album about other stuff as well. Tell us a little bit about the songs that you're going to do today, because I know you're going to do some new songs.
Yeah, so I'm going to do two new songs. They're both kind of what you were saying. I'm trying to write songs that are kind of more important. Not important in the sense of like, oh, this is look how important this song is, but important to me. I mean, there's a place for love songs, and I've got loads of love songs. There's love songs on that album. So there's definitely a time and place for that. But right now, it seems like the world is there's a crossroads, and we need to, whether it's wake people up or get the conversation going, whether it's about climate change or inequality or any of these big issues, the housing crisis. Yeah. And if you're writing songs, you have at least a bit of a platform, even if only a few people are listening to you. You can try to affect some sort of change. So anyway, the two songs are kind of coming from that perspective.
Okay, cool. And you're going to be doing it stripped down today, just you and the guitar, obviously, in a best case scenario. And you've got the major sevens. So talk a little bit about the major sevens, because you've worked with so many of the best musicians in Dublin and beyond over the years. So in an ideal scenario, you'd probably have your full band and stuff.
Yeah, we did the whole full band with brass section, backing vocals and everything. I'm a bit nervous actually to play guitar on my own, because I never really do it. I kind of I have the kind of comfort zone of I mean, Dublin's just a great place to be if you're a musician, because there's loads of musicians and they're all of a really high standard. I'm in Cork as well. I mean, all over the country, Dublin is just it's just where I live. So I'm kind of lucky that I just kind of took a risk and asked all these great jazz players, and would you be interested in playing my songs? And they're like, yeah, sure, Cool. So that's kind of how the band started, and it's gone now 10 years later, unbelievably. And
will you try with these new songs, like what's the plan? You've already had a couple of albums out, like, so are you going to hopefully get these recorded? Are they recorded already?
One of them is pretty much finished, chip in, and the other one is just in demo stage. But yeah, they're both going to be part of the next project, maybe an album. Right. I haven't decided yet.
All right, and the future, obviously that, and some more live gigs. Obviously, it's like, talk a little bit about it, because it's hard I know you're like myself, family man, wife and kids. You're trying to hold down a real job at the same time trying to explore your art. I mean, it's a tough environment to do it all, to balance it all. Tell us a little bit about it.
It is. I mean, it's tough
like
for
a therapy culture.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to. Yeah, I mean, it's tough for everyone. You know, not just artists. Yeah. So I don't want to make it just about that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have two jobs, a family. Like I'm the same. I'm working from home. I'm working for TikTok. Have been for 2 years, and I'm also singing at weddings. Yeah. That's how you make money as a musician in Ireland. So I'm doing that and making my own music whenever I have the chance, but I mean, there's no rush. Good things come to those who wait.
It's great music. I've always been a fan. I'm looking forward to
thanks so
hearing
much.
this little session now, and really appreciate you coming all the way down from Dublin today to do Black on Represent.
Thank
You're
you
one
so
of the
much.
artists I picked for a reason, and I really love everything you've been doing. You said some great collaborations over the years as well. Tolu with King Coco, one of our artists here. You put her on as well on one of your tracks. You've done loads.
She's brilliant, yeah.
And I would urge our listeners and our viewers, whoever's watching it on YouTube, to go explore a little bit more about Danny G. He's got some jams. And yeah, we're going to do a couple
Thanks
of
so
notes. So
much.
thanks a million, Danny.
Thanks, Stevie. Cool. So this song is called Chip In. It's a new song. It's unreleased. Ba-da-dum-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. We've got all we need growing in the trees. Please don't cut them down just to feed more cows. It's the air we breathe, and the birds and bees, and the glaciers melting in our seas. You're not on your own, I feel it too. Something's wrong, buckle up, knuckle down, we got work to do. Chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. And if we all chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. Fogging up the sky, trying to see the stars. They're building rocket ships, they wanna live on Mars. But it's not too late, we can stay right here. If we're all on the same page, don't give in to fear. We're all in the same boat, that much is true. Let's combine, given time, yours and mine, we can make it through. Chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. And if we all chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. We can all work it out. And if we just all chip in, we can get through, I know. We can all work it out. And if we just all chip in, we can get through, I know. And if we all chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. And if we all chip in, we can do anything, we can do anything if we all chip in. Okay, this next one is called Mr. Loaded. Mr. Loaded, haven't you noticed? We've got nothing. Why don't you share a little with us? Mr. Loaded, haven't you noticed? We've got nothing. Why don't you share a little with us? Let's start at the top of the show. You'd be surprised to know that since we've been in charge, that it doesn't trickle down, down, down. And it's been like this from the go. Stuck in your rodeo, a criminal at large, kingpin of the playground. Woo. Throw a dog a bone. We've had enough. I wanna own a home, but you've got all the stuff. Mr. Loaded, Mr. Loaded, haven't you noticed? We've got nothing. Why don't you share a little with us? Mr. Loaded, haven't you noticed? We've got nothing. Why don't you share a little with? We're forced with this level of greed, more than you'll ever need. No answer to the mob. Go tell us that it's all our fault. We can't just work till we bleed. I've got 3 mouths to feed. Find another way. This one isn't working. It's the end of the line. Time's up and fast. What's yours is mine. Did you think that it would last? Mr. Loaded, Mr. Loaded, Haven't you noticed we've got nothing? Why don't you share a little with us, Mr. Loaded? Haven't you noticed we've got nothing? Why don't you share a little? Why don't you share a little? Why don't you share a little with us?